Welcome to our September council meeting on this hot day, one of the hottest days of the year, I think. But I want to welcome everyone, and at this time, I'd like to invite everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. All right. This meeting is now in order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mayor Coate?
Here.
Francis?
Here.
Miller?
Here.
Penniman absent. Vogel?
Here.
Ashley?
Here.
And Willis is absent for the moment.
The following certificate of the clerk of the council to the presiding officer of the council of the municipality of West Milton was read. The undersigned certified that all requirements to notice and notification has been done or attempted to be done in compliance with Council Rule 3. Signed, Linda Cantrell, September 13, 2013. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to excuse Jason Tinnerman from this evening's council meeting.
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Francis?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Vogel?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And Mayor Coate?
Yes. Council should have received their workshop minutes from August 27, 2013. I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt those minutes as written.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion regarding those minutes? Roll call, please.
Francis?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Vogel?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
And Mayor Coate?
Yes. Minutes have been approved for the workshop. Council should have received their council meeting minutes for August. I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt those minutes as written.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion regarding the council meeting minutes? Roll call, please.
Francis?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Vogel?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Willis?
Yes.
And Mayor Coate?
Yes. Thank you. At this time this evening, we want to recognize our September Community Pride Award winners. I would like to congratulate the September 2013 Community Pride Award winners on a job well done. As the council, we want to thank all those in our community for working hard and doing their best in keeping their homes and businesses looking good for those who are passing through. Tonight, it is our pleasure to give this award to 28 Dewar Drive, Bob and Camilla Herkins, 125 Cedar Drive, Orville and Sharon Wright, and 245 Hamilton Street, William and Dana Helsinger. For those Pride Award winners attending tonight, I want to invite you to come up front and we will present you with your award as well as take a picture. Thank you and congratulations.
I'm just getting out of your way for the picture.
Congratulations. Good job. Here it comes. At this time, I'd like to invite Nikki Reese to come up and present her presentation on the fair housing. Mrs. Reese? Yeah, right there. Excellent.
Good evening. I'm not sure if this is on or not.
It should be. It should be on.
Okay. All right. My name is Nikki Reese. I'm Ivan County's Community Development Program Manager, and I'm in charge of administering the Community Development Block Grant funds that come through the county. And it's a requirement for all local government entities that receive CDBG, which that's what we call Community Development Block Grant funds, that I provide presentations like I'm doing tonight to affirmatively further fair housing. I did pass out a brochure or some paperwork on the fair housing law, so I'm going to try to keep it as brief as possible for you tonight. But the main reason that I am here tonight is because I have to do one of these presentations because West Milton was granted $90,000 of CDBG block grant money in 2012, which was actually administered this year for the demolition of the PVB commercial building and the construction of your downtown parking lot, which looks very nice, by the way. So they actually, I guess the total project cost came in at $93,000, so $90,000 of it was actual grant money. So that was very good for you guys, so congratulations. Information on the Federal Fair Housing Act, it was actually enacted in 1968. It was actually, came into effect 7 days after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. And the main purpose of this act was to prohibit discrimination in housing because of race, color, national origin, religion, and sex and gender. And then in 1988, there were two other protected classes that were added. That was disability and familial status was added as two protected classes. And then just specific for the state of Ohio, two other protected classes is military status and ancestry. So those are just two specific for the state of Ohio. Now, discrimination includes not only denial of dwelling units, but also withholding or misrepresenting information about available housing. For example, steering. A realtor coming and saying, you don't want to live in this part of the neighborhood because of certain issues. That's in violation of the Fair Housing Act. That's discrimination. There are more than 10,000 housing discrimination complaints filed annually. The two main ones are racial discrimination and disability. Those are the two most frequently discrimination classes that are impacted against the Fair Housing Act. That's nationwide, not just the state of Ohio. The majority of the alleged discrimination is in terms and conditions of the sale or rental of housing or just refusal to rent. Now, the Miami County Fair Housing Program, we have 4 components to it. The first one is fair housing education, which is me providing presentations like I'm doing tonight, getting the word out, what is the Fair Housing Act. The second one is providing fair housing material. Some of the material we have in our office is we've got a brochure on fair housing is your right. It goes through the act, what areas or what protected classes are there, some demographics specific to Miami County, and then also our contact information. As far as what Miami County does, we're just an intake call office. We take the initial intake call. We'll decide whether or not it's a fair housing issue or maybe it's a landlord-tenant issue. We get both sides of the story. And then once we decide, well, this could potentially be a fair housing issue, we send that on to the House Civil Rights Commission to their Dayton office. and that information is also on the back, that contact information. We also provide a brochure on children and housing, what you should know about children and fair housing laws. We have a landlord-tenant rights and responsibility under law booklet that we have. This is free of charge. And then lastly, we usually pick a high school that we provided CDBG funding for. For example, Milton Union, this past school year, we provided a high school senior education booklet. It goes through various things like budgeting your money. You're going out in the real world. These are things that you need to take into consideration. You're going to be renting possibly for the first time, but some great information in there, and this is also free of charge, and this went out to all the Milton Union seniors this past year from our office. The third component that we have that we're required to do is prepare an analysis of impediments to fair housing. And this document is updated annually. It's a working document. And in 2011, we really looked at Miami County's impediments, and there's 4 big ones that we saw. The first one is NIMBY. Does everyone know what NIMBY stands for? Not in my backyard. Believe it or not, that is an issue here in Miami County. The other one is just the lack of knowledge of fair housing, that it's actually a law. The third one is accessibility, the lack of rental units out there, housing units that is not handicap accessible for the elderly. And then the last one is just the fact of lack of affordable rental housing, which has been seen as an issue. The last component that Miami County offers with our fair housing program is we are our fair housing local contact. Like I had mentioned before, we're the local contact that we need, that you call in if there is a possible fair housing issue. Unfortunately, a lot of times when people hear fair housing, they think it ends up being a landlord-tenant issue. The tenant calls in, landlord's turned off my heat, my air conditioning's not working. We call the other side of the story, well, they haven't paid me rent for the last 3 months. That's kind of why I turned off the heat. So it's our responsibility to look at both sides of the story before we make a decision on whether or not it is an actual fair housing issue. Jill Meyer in my office is actually the person that you would contact and talk to if there is a fair housing issue. Again, when she gets the call, she tries to get both sides of the story. Are you being discriminating? No, my heat just isn't on. Actually, in Miami County Municipal Courts has a procedure in place that if your landlord is not fixing, say, the heater, that they can actually escrow that rent for you until the landlord fixes that piece of equipment. So that option is available, and we do have that contact information on some of the material that we offer. So just to kind of give you an idea, we are required to keep a log of all the calls that we have that come in. And in 2013, as of July, we've had 32 landlord-tenant issues and 0 fair housing issues. One of those was in West Milton. In 2012, we had 39 landlord-tenant issues and 2 fair housing issues. One of those was in West Milton, and that was a landlord-tenant issue. And then in 2011, we had 35 landlord-tenant issues and 4 fair housing issues. And the one was in West Milton was a fair housing issue, but it was resolved before it had to go down to the House Civil Rights Commission on that. Just want to make clear that my office, we can't provide legal advice. Our main responsibility is to take that initial intake call and try to make a decision on if this is possibly a fair housing issue, get both sides of the story. Then we turn it over to the House Civil Rights Commission, who does have the legal staff on hand to take over the case from there. So, any questions? If not, thank you very much for this opportunity, and congratulations on your new parking lot downtown. Looks very nice.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Well, thank you, Nikki, and we're very appreciative of all the work you've done in helping us get the grant money.
Can I ask you, where is your office?
You said brochures are available in your office?
Yes, I am located at the Hobart County Government Center,
Mhm.
which is on West Water Street, and I'm in the Department of Development. And Matt can give you my further contact information if you need that. I think you still
believe so. If not, I'll get some more from you.
Thank you.
Do we have any correspondences for council this evening?
Not for this evening, Mayor.
At this time, I'd like to welcome comments from citizens regarding tonight's legislation. If so, Mr. Edmonds?
First of all, I want to thank Matt for giving me the information he got together kind of quickly on the water meters. Just picked it up the other day, so yesterday, I think, so I really don't have time to put it all together, so some of the facts may be a little, but I'm kind of curious, and I'm more worried about what my bill is going to be, like everybody else, you know. So from the facts I've got, you're going to go out, and this job's going to cost about $760,000, and you're going to finance roughly $600,000 of that at 3% interest. Going on what little I could get out of what Matt or whoever supplied me information through his office, you're going to put a flat rate on it to pay for some of them meters of $2.72. That's just period. Nothing's going to change on that, right?
Well, it all depends. I mean, if it's going to, the proposal was $2.72, but not to collect any more than what is needed for the annual payment.
Okay. So that could be fluctuated up or down, really.
It could if we lose water customers.
Yeah,
then it would
okay,
go.
I mean, okay, from what I was looking at, and I'm gonna use that $2.72 flat rate, and the new meters, which are supposed to be more efficient, and from what I've seen in the fact of the literature was anywhere from 7 to 9% more revenue increase by the accuracy of the meter. Okay, that means my water's gonna go up if I use the same amount of water because I've got a more accurate meter. So he had used a 5% figure here that was, if these meters brought up a 5% figure, it would generate $75,000. So I just took that time number of citizens, you know, just a rough figure because, you know, some people are gonna use more water and less water. So that's gonna be $2.93. So at that point, that's a $5.65 increase. The next thing, and you all know Troy, next year 6%. Year after that, I think it's 4%. Year after that, I think it's 4 and then 2. So I'm sure that's gonna be passed through to us, 6%. To what rate? You know, that can vary too. So I'm looking at that. So basically, I use 2,000 gallons. My bill's gonna go up to around $50 a month, you know, give or take, you know, somebody uses more in accuracy. My real question was, can't totally disagree with the need of it, but that's gotta watch how I say it, a lot of money. And I've heard a lot of money being tossed around on different projects here in this town. I don't know what's a priority because I've been missing some of the meetings because of some other problems I've had. But I'm sure my water is gonna go up $20, $30 a month without too much problems. On fixed income, that's not a real nice thing to have, you know, and I'm sure that's gonna hurt a lot of older people. My next question is the figures were 7 to 9% increase on revenue because the meters were gonna be more accurate. Let's hypothetical say you gain a 10% increase in revenue. That's gonna be off, from what I understand or looked at, that's gonna offset the cost of that 272 and the rest of it. In other words, you're assuming you're gonna get a 5% increase because of the accuracy of the meters, which is gonna generate $75,000. Say you get a 10% increase, which would be another $75,000. What's that gonna happen with that money?
Mr. Francis, please.
One part of it'll help fix some of the water infrastructure, such as some of our water towers that are desperately in repair, and we can't even enter into a maintenance agreement on the south water tower because of the repairs that it needs. And you're talking about probably $150,000, $200,000 worth of repairs.
So we already got that there. We gotta have that kind of repair, right?
Oh, yeah, we have a lot of repairs that need to be done to the infrastructure, just
So-
not only the water,
so
but
there's
also
no gonna
the
be no
sewer.
rebate to us of that extra increase. It's all gonna go into, the
It'll
water
have to go
fund.
back to the general water fund or
Water
even the.
fund.
Yeah.
Can't go to the general fund. It better
Well, no,
have-
the water fund, yeah,
Yeah.
because, I mean, over the last 6 years, the water funds have been depleted because there were some decisions made before. Now it's time to get those funds back, so that way, when we're faced with these decisions, we have the funds already.
Well, you're already pulling another, to offset the cost, you're pulling out,
Right,
what,
so we'd rather
$41,000 more, or 40, or,
$4 or,
no, wait a minute. I got it in here someplace. You're gonna pull out about 59,000 out of the water fund to help offset the water meters from the
Mhm.
water and sewer fund,
Mhm.
to get the figures down to 600,000. So you're telling me we're depleting that fund more, okay, which we already have a problem with. You're hoping to generate enough money to gain that back pretty quick, or,
Well,
Yeah.
you say 75,000, that's not fair. It's not 75,000 to the water fund, it's 75,000 to water and sewer, is the estimate. But we really don't know how accurate.
okay,
it'll
you're
be.
saying that's generated from both funds because of what the water meters actually reads, okay? So, well, you're borrowing same amount from both, so they're going back into equal funds,
Yes.
okay? I guess you brought up sewer fund. As a previous member of this council, and I gotta add this, and hope to be back on in next November, I was always told you couldn't use sewer fund for water. How are you using sewer for water? I was told it had to stay in the same fund. You couldn't cross funds.
Sewer funds cannot be collected without the reading of the water meter.
That's
So
true, but
the water
but-
meter itself is used for both water and sewer billing.
you're saying that it's okay to use sewer fund for the water meter because of that?
Well, if you look at it that way, the water meter is also telling you what your sewer bill is, so it can be considered a water and a sewer meter if you're looking at
Well-
that distinctively.
There's places that got water meters that don't have sewer, and there's places that got sewer that don't have water meter. And the auditor was okay with that, huh?
Mhm.
That's been okayed by the auditor, that you could use the sewer fund. You
You mean
never
the finan-
bothered.
You mean the finance director?
Has that been okayed, that you can use the sewer fund for water meters?
Yes. I mean, I'm not sure who the auditor is, who you're talking about. but-
State auditor,
Okay.
the one that comes in here and says, hey, you used the wrong fund for the wrong thing. Because I know I've been told more than once while sitting up there, it had to be, and water meters is basically water, in my thought. So I don't know how they were looking at it, but I'll look into that a little. And I asked for the bid specs and the bids themselves. I got the cost, but not the bids. Maybe I didn't word it right well enough. What's the warranty on these meters?
20 years,
20 what? Everything?
everything.
Everything, radio, base stations, software, electronics.
Yes,
For 20 years, we won't have to pay nothing.
yes.
Well, that goes against what they say in their specs on their, which type of meter are we getting from, you know the brand? I mean, I know the brand, but the type, SR1, SR2?
They're the new census numbers.
Well, in their warranty paperwork, they gave about 3 different
Their
sizes,
meter has on their guarantee, 20 years.
that we won't have to touch them.
We won't have to touch them. If
What happened?
they go out in 18 years and I get a new head, that new head is guaranteed for 20 years. But as you know, the basis of what goes bad and starts, the meter starts getting slow. Now, you know all that, so, we really looked at all the meters really hard, Don.
I'm not saying that, I'm just looking at the older people that's gonna have a hard time to pay for that. I was looking for that.
It was specifically asked at the last meeting at the workshop of the contractor that was here about the warranty. And they gave us the specifics. It is a 20-year warranty and it covers everything.
Well, like I said, I was looking at Turk, unless I got the wrong thing. Is that the company you're using? Certain types, they've got some, but they talk about the electronics not being covered only 20 years and everything else, and radio station and everything else. I'd like to see that bid spec, that is available with that in there, right?
The specifications for the
Yeah,
bids, yes.
from them, that they say they're covering. Okay? Can that be available?
The bid specs, yes.
Not the specs, but their bid saying this is what's covered.
We can give you everything that they gave us.
Because I don't have that. Okay, well, that's all I wanted to know. I'm just, just seems like there's a lot of money going to police service. A lot of people starting to worry people, and especially the older people. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll turn our attention to the ordinances and resolutions before us. First one is CM-13-17, second reading of the loud dog ordinance. Mrs. Brosh.
It's an ordinance amending section 90.29 loud dog.
I'll entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion regarding this ordinance? Roll call, please.
Francis?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Vogel?
Yes.
Ashley?
Yes.
Willis?
Yes.
And Mayor Coe.
Yes, this ordinance has been passed. Next, we have CM-13-20, resolution to authorize DAS purchasing.
It's authorizing political subdivision to participate in the State of Ohio Cooperative Purchasing Program. Whereas Ohio's Cooperative Purchasing Act, as signed into law on December 4th, 1985, and whereas effective March 6th, 1986, Ohio's Cooperative Purchasing Act provides the opportunity for counties, townships, municipal corporations, regional transit authorities, regional airport authorities, or port authorities and school districts, conservancy districts, township park districts, and park districts, and other authorities to participate in contracts distributed by the State of Ohio Department of Administrative Services, Office of Cooperative Purchasing, for the purchase of supplies, services, equipment, and certain materials. Now therefore be it resolved by the municipality of West Milton that Section 1, that the municipal manager hereby requests authority in the name of the municipality of West Milton to participate in state contracts which the Department of Administrative Services, Office of State Purchasing has entered into, and the Office of Cooperative Purchasing has distributed for the purchase of supplies, services, equipment, and certain other materials pursuant to Revised Code Section 125.04. Section 2, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to agree in the name of the municipality of West Milton to be bound by all contract terms and conditions as the Department of Administrative Services, Office of Cooperative Purchasing prescribes. Such terms and conditions may include a reasonable annual membership fee to cover the administrative costs which the Department of Administrative Services incurs as a result of municipality of West Milton participation in the contract. Further, that the municipal manager does hereby agree to be bound by all such terms and conditions and to not cause or assist in any way the misuse of such contracts or make contract disclosures to non-members of the co-op for the purpose of avoiding the requirements established by ORC 125.04. Section 3, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to agree in the name of the municipality of West Milton to directly pay the vendor under each such state contract in which it participates for items it receives pursuant to the contract, and the municipal manager does hereby agree to directly pay the vendor.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Any discussion? Mr. Klein?
Just to let everyone know, this is really, I would consider a housekeeping issue. The Village of West Milton has been participating in the Department of Administrative Services co-ops long before I arrived here, and I can see paperwork that we did it back in the 1990s. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we got a letter from them that said they couldn't find our resolution. So we went back to about 2002, 2001, 2000, roughly, and we couldn't find it either. The program's been in existence since 1986. So instead of just arguing with them, we felt, okay, we'll just pass a fresh resolution. It's not that we use it all that much. One of the ones that everyone would be the most familiar with is anytime that we would purchase a police cruiser. The state of Ohio it bids it out themselves, so it saves municipalities money. So that would be the best example of the times that we've used it. So we just ask that we get the paperwork in line with the Department of Administrative Services.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Francis.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Ashley.
Yes.
Willis.
Yes.
And Mayor Coe.
Yes. The resolution has been passed. Our next resolution is CM-1321, authorizing the manager to enter into a water meter contract. Mrs. Brush.
It's a resolution to authorize the municipal manager to enter into a contract for the replacement and installation of water meters for all water accounts serviced by the municipality of West Milton. Whereas it has been determined that the aging infrastructure of the West Milton Water Department needs to be addressed, and whereas an important part of this aging infrastructure includes the replacement of the water meters for each account serviced by the West Milton Water Division. And whereas the replacement of said water meters has been properly bid according to Chapter 33 of the Code of Ordinances of the Municipality of West Milton. And whereas it has been determined pursuant to Section 33.18A6 of the Municipality of West Milton, Ohio Code of Ordinances, that the option offering the most compatible terms and the most efficient product for the replacement of said water meters is with E.J. Prescott Incorporated of West Carrollton, Ohio, which option is therefore determined to be the lowest and best bid pursuant to the requirements of the ordinance. And whereas the financing of this project is addressed by Ordinance 13-CM-22. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Municipality of West Milton, Ohio, that Section 1, the municipal manager is hereby authorized and directed to enter into a contract with E.J. Prescott Incorporated of West Carrollton, Ohio, in the amount of $716,893.73 for the replacement and installation of all water meters within the service area of the West Milton Water Division. Section 2, this resolution shall be in full force immediately upon its passage.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Francis.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Vogel.
Yes.
Ashley.
Yes.
Willis.
Yes.
And Mayor Coe.
Yes. The resolution's been passed. Our next item is ordinance to finance water meters, CM-13-22. Mrs. Bosch.
An ordinance to authorize the municipality of West Milton, Ohio to enter into a loan agreement with Minster Bank to borrow money in order to finance the replacement and installation of water meters for all water accounts serviced by the municipality of West Milton. Whereas it has been determined by the municipality of West Milton, Ohio, that there's a need to replace water meters for each account serviced by the West Milton Water Department. And whereas the municipality of West Milton, Ohio, pursuant to Resolution CM-13-21, has authorized the municipal manager to enter into a contract with E.J. Prescott Incorporated of West Carrollton, Ohio, in the amount of $716,893.73 for the replacement and installation of all water meters within the service area of the West Milton Water Division. And whereas it has been further determined that it is necessary for the municipality of West Milton, Ohio, to borrow $600,000 in order to pay for the replacement and installation of all water meters under the terms of the contract with E.J. Prescott Incorporated of West Carrollton, Ohio. And whereas the municipality of West Milton, Ohio has determined that entering into a loan agreement with Minster Bank is the most beneficial option for the municipality based on the terms of the agreement. Now therefore, be it ordained by the Council of the Municipality of West Milton, Ohio, that Section 1, the municipality of West Milton, Ohio shall enter into an agreement with Minster Bank for a loan of $600,000 with an interest rate of 3% for a period of 10 years. Section 2, the Council for the Municipality of West Milton, Ohio hereby authorizes the municipal manager and the Director of Finance to enter into such loan agreement with Minster Bank on behalf of the municipality. It should be Section 3. This ordinance shall be in full force immediately upon its passage. So Section 2.
Thank you. That will be the first reading of this ordinance. The last ordinance is CM-13-23 to amend apportionments. Ms. Rush.
An ordinance to amend the 2013 appropriations. Whereas council by ordinance CM-13-36 adopted 2013 final appropriations for the various funds utilized by the municipality. And whereas it is necessary to adjust the appropriations to reflect unanticipated expenditures. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Municipality of West Milton that Section 1, the following amendments to the 2013 appropriations of the Municipality of West Milton, Ohio are hereby made. The general fund, the original appropriation was $1,776,025, was amended by $56,550, and the amended appropriation is $1,832,575. For the park fund, the original appropriation was $33,505. It was amended by $5,000, and the amended appropriation is $38,505. The water capital fund, the original appropriation was $3,750. It was amended by $8,500, and the amended appropriation is $12,250. The water fund, the original appropriation was $767,156. It was amended by $5,300, and the amended appropriation is $772,456. The sewer fund, the original appropriation was $645,736. It was amended by $14,900, and the amended appropriation is $660,636. Section 2, any previously drawn warrants on these funds in excess of the original appropriation are hereby authorized. And Section 3, this ordinance shall become effective from and after the earliest date permitted by law.
Thank you. This is also the first reading of this ordinance. At this time, we look forward to the manager's report.
But first, I'd like to thank Ms. Bosch for being here tonight every time that we have an abundance of ordinances with lots of reading. It always seems to be her turn, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Each year, the Miami County Budget Commission certifies the rates of taxes levied at 10 mills for various local governments, including ours. Of that 10 mil, West Milton typically receives 3.4 mills. That's the standard, plus the additional current street levy of 3 mills. After these mills have been certified by the Budget Commission, each jurisdiction must accept by a voice vote at a public meeting. After acceptance, each member of council must sign the form, and I have the forms here, so if I assume we pass this, then there's a place for you to sign. You might recall, we did this last year. It's something we have to do every year. So I guess the Miami County Budget Commission is asking for your acceptance, and I'll need a motion and a second to that and a voice vote to that regard.
You actually have to say it all. Okay. I'd like to make a motion for accepting the rates of tax as determined by the Miami County Budget Commission for the tax year 2013.
And I'll second.
It's your meeting. You have to ask for all in favor.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. So before you leave, that's 2 pieces of paper we need to sign. Just a reminder, there's a joint meeting with the school board and the Union Township trustees, September 26th. It'll start at 6:30 p.m. This time it will be hosted by the school board. And if you'll recall, the mayors of Ludlow Falls, Laura, and Potsdam will also be invited to this meeting. It's been recently brought to my attention, actually, the last couple days, from a couple different people who have told me that they have called the non-emergency number for the police department. There's a message on that non-emergency number and it asks or instructs them to please call 911, or if they want to, the non-emergency number at the 911 center in the county. We have had some incidents where we felt that it probably would warrant an emergency call to 911, but they're just leaving messages. And just like to try to remind the public that our police officers are out of the office most of the time. It's not something that they come back to. There's not a dedicated person that takes phone calls, especially in the evening hours and at night. So we really would like to encourage everybody or remind everybody, if you need to get a hold of our police department, do not be afraid to call 911. 911 is also our dispatch center, not only ours, but everybody in the county. So if you need a police officer, even if you feel it's not an emergency, don't be afraid to call 911, because that's what the service is for.
Matt, can I interject something here?
Yes.
They also have a non-emergency number, and that is 937-440-9911.
Thank
Is that
you.
on that message?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So they know it's there.
Our message tells them to either call 911 or the 440 number, but they don't believe, they're not doing that. So I'd like to encourage everybody, if you need our police department, please call our dispatch center. As I've said at the last meeting, council made the difficult decision of placing on the November ballot for our voters' consideration a new street levy, which would replace the current street levy, which we've been operating under since 1984. As I did at the last council meeting, I would like to take just a brief minute to share a small fact our voters should know and understand, which I hope they will consider before making their decision. After the last meeting, it came to my attention that some people may think that we have a high number of employees. So I thought, let's take a look at that. And what we did was we went back to 1990. 1990, we had a city manager, and in 2013, we also have a city manager. 1990, we had a service director, which we do not have today. Back in 1990, we had a street foreman. Today, we call it the street and park supervisor. We also had a utilities foreman, and today we call that a utility supervisor. We had 3 street maintenance workers, and today we do have 3 street maintenance workers. We had 2 part-time street workers. We also had 4 utilities workers, but today we only have 3. We also had a parks supervisor, but as I said, we've combined that position with our streets. And we had anywhere between 1 or 2 part-time park workers, and today we do not have any of those positions. And to be fair, we looked at the office as well, or City Hall. In 1990, we had 4 employees, and today we only have 3. So the total number of employees in 1990 varied anywhere between 19 or 20, and today we work with 12. Now, the total amount of wages the street fund pays is 0. And the total amount the replacement levy would pay would also be 0. But what does the levy pay? Last month I talked about asphalt prices. Today, something very simple. Let's just talk about street paint. In 1984, the cost per gallon of street paint was $5.45. Today, Ben received a bill for $18 a gallon. We did 525 gallons of paint. Back in 1984, that would have cost us $2,861. And today, it costs us $9,450 for the same paint. Again, costs have gone up, but the street levy continues to pay the same amount. That ends my report for this evening, Mayor. Yes, sir.
Maybe you can mention one thing about the issue with the water meters that, those are going to be coming on board, and the water study that you performed, that since we have the public's ear now, and it's been brought up by a local townsperson, someone that lives here,
that what you're going to do as far as communicating about the water study and the meters at a televised meeting down the road.
Not only a televised meeting, but you'll be seeing in your next water bill an explanation or a letter to everybody explaining what we're trying to do to improve the infrastructure of our water department. We'll be explaining everything in detail, everything that you've read today about borrowing of $600,000, how much the meters would cost, what the meters would be able to do, breaking down that cost of that $2.72. The new meters will be fixed base. Fixed base means that they will be constantly read, and then every day or every morning, we will be notified if anybody may have a potential leak. It's happened to me. I bought a house on Dewar, turned the water on, had not moved in, and I had a $52 utility bill. That's because the water had been leaking in the toilet for over a month. With these new meters, I should be notified the very next day because we'll be able to set those parameters and be able to call you to stop that. So instead of $52, the goal would be less than $2. So that's really one of our goals in providing new meters, is to provide better customer service. So those people don't get hit with something that they're not expecting. Heck, after I moved into the house, my next month's bill was only $26. So that's something that we were hoping to help and to help them avoid. And we will be putting that in a letter form in everybody's water bill as well.
You'd be stating also about the catching up the arrears when they put the new meters in, it'll be paid each month.
Yes.
It won't be any more behind.
Yes, right now, everybody is 2 months in the arrears. So it's early this month. Everybody received their water bill this last week. That was water that you had used in July. So the plan would be to quote-unquote final out your old meter and provide you 60, actually be 75 days to pay those 2 months in the arrears. And then you'll get a current bill off of your new meter. That 75 days to pay those 2 months would be without penalty or interest whatsoever. And we will put that and we will explain that as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Council, have any old business to discuss this evening? New business? At this time, I'd like to welcome any final comments from citizens regarding tonight's meeting. Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. This meeting's adjourned.